smashed that ball straight past the bowler for a single. It was just a check drive, but he managed to get enough meat on it to get 4 runs. Singapore going at almost 10 runs and over. Really good start. That's a misfield towards car corner that's helped Tim Davids to come back for the second run. Really good batting by both Tim and Rohan. Both of them have accelerated the innings, have got a couple of boundaries in the last 2 or 3 overs. They're certainly putting Singapore on track to get a good total. Nepal, on the other hand, needs something to break this partnership.
This is where the experience should come in. They need to just slow things down a little. Regmi just readjusting his field. He nearly took his partner out there, Tim David, on that shot. It was very well left by Rohan at the non-striker's end.
So going by history, usually at this point, Nepal would turn to a very experienced captain in the form of Paras, who's on screen at the moment, to either bowl his medium paces, or at one point he actually converted to bowling off spin. But unfortunately, he doesn't bowl anymore because of an injury. So Nepal certainly could be feeling that just a tidy bit.
Probably, but there's so much talent in this side. I don't think teams come to a tournament. Certainly not Nepal. They've got a good cricket setup. They are a very good side. I'm sure they have the players. Paras's experience is going to come in very handy in this situation to get his players together and not let the game run away from them. But he's trying to see who the next bowler is.
The next bowler is A. Bohara. Abhinash Bohara. Abhinash coming around the wicket, bowling right arm around. Bit of a slingy action first ball. I haven't seen much of Abhinash Zubin, but he's started off really well with the dot ball. Bit of a slingy action.
Interesting approach.
So he's bowling around the wicket with long on, cow corner, square leg and a short fine. On the offside, Abhinash has got a third man point, covers a sweeper and long off. So he'll be looking to bowl wicket to wicket. He wouldn't want to be straight onto the pads as there's minimal protection back of square. That's
an incredible shot by Rohan Rangarajan.
He's pulled that between long on and cow corner and absolutely smoked it. Great bat speed. Nicely played by Rohan. He'll be targeted to come back for 2. And he does. Singapore certainly off to a great start here. Folks, if you've just tuned in, We'll give you an update after this ball. He's absolutely smashed that through long off. Another 6. Zubin Rowan certainly getting into his stride here.
He is, and when he's playing shots like that, when he's batting like that, conventional, he's got great technique, and when he keeps his shape, he's one of the best batsmen to watch in the Singapore circuit. It's when he starts to lose shape or tries something too much that he loses the plot. But
when he tries to overhit the ball.
When he tries to overhit the ball, absolutely, and that's what he's not doing here.
He's pushed that through to long gone for a run. So folks, if you've just tuned in, Singapore won the toss and elected to bat. They opened the innings with Surendra Chandramohan and Rohan Rangarajan. Surendra Chandramohan getting 2 quick boundaries before departing to Karan Casey, hitting him straight to point. Joined by Tim Davids, and both these batsmen have certainly dictated terms since then. As you can see on the scoreboard, Timothy batting on 37, Rohan Rangarajan batting on 41. Both of them accelerating probably in the last 4 overs, getting at least 2 boundaries and over. So Singapore on track to get a big total here. They certainly need to keep their composure. And in Zubin's words, keeping the shape.
Yes, and this is a ground where you get very good return for good batting. You don't need to be looking for those big slog sweeps.
Nepal have gone with Sandeep Lamichhane from the other end to where he started bowling to replace Basant Regmi. Rohan's absolutely smashed that past the bowler's head for another 6. He's certainly taking on Lamichhane. In Lamichhane's first over, he came down the track and he's done the exact same now. That takes him to 47 of 28 bowls. Zubin, I was going to say, it's certainly difficult reading Sandeep Lamichhane off his hands because he bowls with a bit of a cross seam, similar to Imran Tahir. Not like your traditional leg spinner that holds it with the seam and bowls. Hence, picking up the leg spinner versus the wrong is certainly a bit of a challenge. But Rohan seems to be picking anything at this point.
I think not just Lamichhane, but even Regmi previously. I think what the spinners have done is given room to the batsmen. They've bowled wider of the players, and that's probably why or where they've been taken for runs. I mean, there's been very few balls that have been hit off the stumps, and even this last 6, the ball was flighted, which is good or fine, but it just had a lot of weight. It allowed Rohan to free his arms.
That ball got the under edge, but difficult catch for the keeper.
The umpire at that end is Tabarak Dar, who I had the good fortune of playing against when he was playing for Hong Kong and I for Singapore. We've had many an interesting tussle. Good run there, good pressure put on the fielder.
Hit straight to point for no run. 10 overs gone. Singapore 96 for 1. I would like to invite Kash Patel back into the comm box. So been going for a bit of a break. Kash, welcome.
Thank you, Sharon. Good to have you back today commentating as well. I really enjoyed commentating with you on the Singapore versus Malaysia match. Very knowledgeable about the game, just like Zubin. It's Timothy taking strike to face Bohara, who went for 14 in the first over.
Rohan's gone for a lap sweep here. A wide ball down the leg side. So Abhinash has changed ends. He was, when I say he's changed side, in fact, he was bowling around the wicket. Now he's come over. Good intent from Rohan to try and get the ball over short fine. Tight single, but he's got back. So Kash, 97 for 1 after 10.1. 98 for 1, beg your pardon, after 10.1. Singapore will be very happy with that.
Yes, they would take that any day, and it's also just nice to see these two youngsters batting with such intent, with such positivity, especially Rohan, who's a local homegrown talent I was mentioning the other day. He's first played for Singapore when he's 15. Really happy to see him playing well today.
Great shot by Tim, straight to Paris at covers. I was mentioning to Zubin, usually at a time when Nepal usually needs a wicket, Paris, till up until the recent past, used to be bowling either his medium paces or off spinners. Nepal certainly will be missing his services from a bowling standpoint.
Oh, nice.
Almost took Rohan out there. Young Tim that was smashed down the ground.
That's not the first time Tim's done that. So Rohan's probably going to watch himself. It happened 2 overs ago as well. But that's what happens when you're absolutely creaming the ball to all parts of the ground. That incident reminded me of once where Inzamam hit the ball back to Morna and to Hayward back in Sharjah. That's a fantastic shot.
Get out way
at short fine leg.
Rohan
Didn't get the connection that he was wanting. And the fielder was good to get around to snap up a really smart catch.
खतरनाक शॉट मार्ने चक्करमा आउट भएका छन् शरद विश्वकरले क्या समातेका छन् यहाँनिर धेरै राम्रो समयमा विकेट मिलेको छ नेपाललाई 49 रन 49 32 बलको सामना गरेर 49 रन खेलिरहेका थिए रोहन यो विकेटले धेरै पनि खुसी मिलेको छ नेपाली टिमलाई र आत्मबल बढ्ने छ भन्ने हामी विश्वस्त छौं पार्टनरशिप ब्रेक भएको छ यहाँनिर आजको समग्रमा भन्नुपर्दा सोमपाल कामीको बल अलि राम्रो गइरहेको छ बाँकी सबैले अलि महँगा भइरहेका छन् रन गइरहेको छ ज्यादा सिंगापुर पनि पछिल्लो समय धेरै नै राम्रो टिम हो विशेष गरी सिंगापुरमा 2-3 जना अस्ट्रेलियन खेलाडीहरू पनि रहेका छन् अस्ट्रेलियन खेलाडी भयो के भयो त हामी चाहिँ अस्ट्रेलिया जानलाई हिँडेका हामी मनप्रीत सिंह आएका छन्
they play well,
Australian,
or
Indian,
they played well for themselves, or work well for Singapore too, with
यस्ता
Timothy
खेलाडीहरू मिलेर
at the other
बनेको
end.
टिम हो सिंगापुर
Still looking to hit that ball hard and try to score those boundaries. And Manpreet can work his way in.
Absolutely.
अब यहाँ
Manpreet's got a higher score of 155
टिमोथीको पनि विकेट जान जरुरी छ
in the Premier Division in
जो अस्ट्रेलियन
Singapore.
ब्याट्सम्यान हो
Certainly one of the key batsmen within the Singapore batting lineup. That was a massive wicket
commenting this
for Nepal. Rohan was playing really good cricket up until that point, and when he went a bit extravagant, it led to his downfall. But And that's the way T20 goes, Cash.
Oh yes, and at only 1 wicket down, one would then say, you do have that luxury of wanting to manufacture those shots to get the extra boundaries.
Good ball by Abhinash to start off. A nice tidy yorker. Manpreet just punts it down to long on for a single.
100 is up for Singapore at the end of the 11th over.
100 up in
Exactly.
10.5 overs. Singapore will be elated with the start. It's really important for them to carry this momentum for the next 10 overs. Abhinash coming round the wicket to Tim.
Hit down to long on for a single. He had to hurry down in the end. There's a bit of a ricochet off the stumps, and Manpreet was very keen to seal another single. Timothy was not interested.
That's how how hard he hit the ball, Cash. From the boundary, Deepak Ari has hit the stumps down on the full. Brilliant throw.
Very good throw indeed. 11 gone, 101 for 2. Sharon, what would be your target score from here?
Singapore should surely target a score between 210, 220 with the start they've got and the firepower that they have coming in as well. But it's important to carry the same momentum.
And what will be the minimum you would want? I was asking you the other day as well, but on this pitch today, I was told by
Sarat
Zubin this
Vishwakar.
is only the second time it's been used. The first
Bowling ko
time
lagi.
as well was a high score in the Kuwait-Qatar game. So what will be the bare minimum you would need?
A change in the bowling. We've got Sarad Wesokar coming to bowl. Probably along with Paris, one of the stalwarts of Nepal cricket. Played, if I'm not mistaken, was born in the Middle East and moved back to Nepal, and since then has been an excellent servant to Nepal cricket, bowling his off spinners here. Coming back to your question around the minimum scores of Cash, this looks like a 190 wicket. But saying that, this wicket is going to open up and certainly going to play a role for the Singapore spinners. But this certainly looks like a 180, 190 wicket at a minimum.
Yeah, and sitting at 102 for 2, you would one would expect Singapore to score at least that, provided they keep that same approach of wanting to rotating the strike and then hit those boundaries in between. To me, that dismissal of Surendran, and Zubin rightly pointed it out, that was to do with the nerves side of it too. When he hit those two back-to-back boundaries, he didn't need to go for that third shot. So as long as they don't commit any of those mistakes in the rest of the innings, I think 180, 190 should be definitely on the cards.
That's exceptionally well played by Tim Davis. Full toss from Sarad. Hit between deep mid-wicket and long on.
Cut the two fielders.
Absolutely split the fielders in half. Really well placed by Tim. Suddenly going really well for Singapore. 44 of 27. Really looking on song. Tim just rocking back and pushing the ball to deep mid-wicket for a single.
Yes, you would definitely want Tim to go on from here.
Singapore will certainly want him to stay right to the very end. Hopefully getting a good 80, 90 odd. But he's the sort of batsman that can really... Oh, great shot by Manpreet to backward point for a single. He's the sort of batsman that can absolutely change gear. Like just the other day, he was there for a short stay, like you mentioned previously, Cash. But the kind of cricket he played, you can already see that he's someone who can score really quick runs. And 45 of 28 has come relatively easily to him in terms of just nudging the ball around and playing conventional cricket. But if he goes big, he can probably accelerate even that current strike rate.
Oh yes, and as we've already seen as well, he can hit the ball hard. I saw him in the nets the other day. One of the players was giving him throwdowns, and the power that he had in his drives in the nets. At one point, I hope the guy giving him throwdowns should go and wear a helmet, because if there's one which would have slight mishit or something, the ball was just rocketing into the nets.
Sandeep Lamichhane has come into the attack, and top edge from Manpreet that goes over Paris at covers. So Sandeep Lamichhane coming back from the
Balestier Road end.
He started off at the Balestier Road end, bowled his next over from the Serangoon Road end, and he's back to the Balestier Road end.
Rangoon Road.
Rangoon Road's the other side.
Yes.
Apologies, folks. Tim's absolutely monstered that over long gone for a massive six. That's six in any ground.
Oh yes, definitely, and it's gone out of the ground. And there's lots of spectators here today at the ground, folks. As you can see, the scenery, a lot of Nepali supporters in the Singaporean contingent watching from the pavilion side, just being shown on your screens now. And they are absolutely ecstatic. They've been making a lot of noise as Tim is now on 51 of just 29.
Great 50 for Tim.
Well earned. Now he plays it to square leg for another single. Smart, intelligent cricket by both these cricketers, Manpreet, my apologies folks. Early days at the crease for him, but he's rotating the strike and handing over to Tim. Again, just nudged behind square, the keeper runs around. One more single. As Zubin was mentioning earlier, even if they keep to look to score at least just one boundary and over and pull in another 3 or 4 singles, that should easily pull them through for that 180, 190 score.
Another googly by Sandeep, and it's really well played by Tim for a 4.
Smartly ran it down the ground.
Cash, usually teams within T20 or 50 over cricket tend to target the weakest bowler in the opposition for runs. This approach from Singapore to target Lamichhane has worked out really well for them so far.
Oh yes, Lamichhane definitely seems to be reeling a little bit from this approach.
That was the first flighted ball by Sandeep, and he got a bit of purchase from the wicket. That probably sends a message as well to flat the ball just a tad bit and get as much revolutions on the ball.
Oh yes, I mean, and if you want to get wickets, you have to do that. You have to look to do that, toss the ball up, slow it down a bit. Like you said, get those revolutions going on the ball. That's what's going to get the batsman tempted and also possibly make mistakes as well. If you're going to keep bowling flat and quicker, going to be very hard to contain and as well as to get wickets.
$122 for 2 after 13. Folks, if you've just joined us after the first ball, Cash and I will give you a quick rundown of the proceedings up until now.
As Sarat continues from the Rangoon Road end.
Well played to long off for a single by Manpreet.
Oh, he has absolutely smoked that one behind square for a 6.
इधर इधर आया इधर
The number of balls we've lost this tournament, Cash, has been unreal.
Indeed, it has. And if there's any kids who are watching at home, you want to come down after the tournament finishes today for a little treasure hunt with your parents around the park outside of the grounds, you're sure to find a few souvenirs for yourself.
And those staying in the vicinity, don't be surprised if one actually enters your doorstep.
Yes. The way Timothy is hitting them.
So yes, just to continue, so Rowan got a really well-made 49, really took to the bowlers, had some absolutely towering sixes as part of his innings. He perished trying to play the lap sweep, getting caught at short fine leg of the bowling of Abhinash O'Hara. Since then, Manpreet and Tim have been nudging the ball around and hitting the, I would like to say occasional, but it's actually not that occasional. It's been probably a big one every single over, Cash.
Yes, and again, any kids watching at home, this is the approach you should bring, especially into T20. The least number of dot balls, and if you can look to hit a boundary every over, you've got yourselves in a good position. You have to look to take on the bowlers.
Manpreet missing that one outside off stump. That was his bread butter shot, which is the inside out shot over covers. Bit of a change to the field. Shot third man and point and covers coming into play. Manpreet hitting that back of point. Bit of a misfield, allowing the batsman to go for one.
Looks very classy, Manpreet, when he plays those shots on the offside.
Certainly, with a lot of good batsmen, you can certainly see they have a little that extra time to play the ball.
And that's the key. That's the key. All you youngsters out there, always you should look to be watching the ball early out of the bowler's hands.
Tim David's asking for a change of gloves. Let's talk about Tim for a second here, Cash. Tim's obviously come from Australia. For him to acclimatize to the Singapore conditions, I certainly saw him a couple of times during the innings remove his helmet, and you can see sweat just absolutely pouring off his head. So kudos to him to actually acclimatize, come into the setup, and now obviously contribute to Singapore in a big way.
Oh yes, Singapore cricket is definitely enjoying the fruits of having him in the squad today. But you see, about the acclimatizing part, when you're in there, you set yourselves up with a nice score. The adrenaline just keeps you going. I'm sure he'll probably lose a couple of kilos by the end of the innings, but we'll have to quickly go and rehydrate. I had heard from Rahul Dravid years ago, in a typical test innings, and he used to sweat a lot. He would lose about 6 kilos in when you play those long test innings.
That reminds me of Mitchell Stark conversation that not that I had, wish I did, but when he had an interview, he certainly mentioned during when they tour India for test series, they all come back about 8 to 10 kilos lighter. That's unreal. This is going to be really interesting. Basant Regmi, who went for 29 of 2 overs, has come into bowl, and he's your typical left-arm orthodox who flights the ball in, trying to tempt the batsman to a big one. I'm really keen to see how he goes here against Tim Davids. Bowled nice and flat, drilled down to long on for a single. He certainly would need to bowl a little bit more quicker to Tim Davids and maybe tempt Manpreet for that big shot with a bit of flight going.
Yeah, let's see what he's going to bring in these next 5 balls. Nepal searching for that next wicket, and definitely Manpreet will be the first one to go to look to target, as he's just recently come to the crease. There it is. There's his inside out drive to extra cover for a single. Just looks elegant. Just absolutely love watching that shot when he plays.
But that was Basant Regmi again changing the approach and bowling a really flighted ball for Manpreet.
Tim would be fancying himself to take this all the way. 65 or 36, still about 6 overs to go.
Well bowled by Basant Regmi, saw the batsman come down the crease and absolutely fired it into the batsman's pads, who played it really well towards long gone for a run.
Played to long on by Manpreet for another single.
Really well fielded by Gyanendra Mala here at long on. Experienced campaigner with Singapore as well. Opening bat for Nepal.
Manpreet doing a really good job so far of rotating the strike and letting Tim to look to play the big shots.
Really well bowled by Basant Regmi again, really cramping Tim Davids for room, allowing Tim to use those big levers.
Yes, powerful shoulders he has, young Tim.
Tim hailing from Western Australia, batting with a Bradbury bat as well, which is certainly manufactured in Western Australia as well.
Slightly moving the field there. in the covers.
Full toss by Basant Regmi and caressed away to deep mid-wicket for 1 run by Manpreet.